Okay. Today is Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, and I am bringing the meeting to order for the Design Review Board. John, if you want to...
As far as a roll call today, all 7 members are present.
Awesome. We don't have any minutes from the previous meeting, so we'll go ahead and move into new business. Public hearing 3.1. Do you want to tell us about that, John?
This application is for the Paramount Bar, which has been in this location since 1947. The applicant in this case, Kevin Romey, has operated the bar since 2000. The bar is unique in some extents to having a fenced-in rear patio area that was approved back in June 2006. And this certificate of compatibility application was first reviewed at your earlier meeting in March 13th, and a proposal was presented to include removal of the existing wooden glass storefront and vestibule and the replacement with a new aluminum glass storefront system. This shows the existing conditions now, and what is being proposed is a facade modification basically for the ground floor storefront from pier to pier here. The interior of this area would be renovated. The existing entrance would come down to the south, and wood framing and stucco would cover this area of the storefront behind the storefront itself. And this is another view. So this is a present view showing an existing canopy system there. It doesn't quite go all the way across and captures the second floor stair. What is being presented is the establishment of an outdoor dining area, and the first element that we're looking at and the responsibility of the Design Review Board is to look at and approve the basic floor plan elements, irrespective of the fence in this particular photograph, for compatibility with the downtown design guidelines. This is for a certificate of compatibility application today, while a license agreement with the City Commission would be necessary to establish this storefront area here. This shows a patio area where the patterned brick stops at this particular location. We would call attention to the dimensional quality here. The sidewalk has been laid out now, so the area behind the brick pier is actually 8 feet rather than 10 feet. So that would reduce the depth of that somewhat, but that is not something that you're looking at today. You're focusing on the facade renovation itself. And when you met at March 14th meeting, you did not have any samples or renderings available to you at that time. Members of the Design Review Board asked whether they could approve the physical changes without the finished materials and colors when they were presented at a later date. And the Design Review Board moved to approve the facade renovation subject to the applicant providing his color selections for the canopy, wall sign, ceramic tile, cultured stone, stucco, and wall framing for the project itself. The contractor, Blue Line Remodeling, has supplied some samples for you, and they are at your dais now. These cover the ceramic tile setting, which is this portion of the storefront in this particular color. This would be the ceramic tile below the countertop. And the stucco system back here with wood framing would be a taupe or a gray color. You might want to rely on the sample itself to see what tone that is. And as far as the metal awning itself, what is shown on the architectural drawings is a corrugated metal canopy system that would use the existing framing and also extend over the south storefront door. And that's the access to the second floor. And that would be this rustic bronze color in nature, so this is a rendition of the awning itself. So the applicant was contacted on May 14th and requested to provide a color photograph sample for the marble storefront countertop. And this would not be part of your review today, but there is a countertop that would extend over the northern portion of the storefront and would carry an overhead door 10 foot wide, 6 foot tall. And the countertop itself is pictured in the architectural drawings as extending over past the storefront system out into the area of the sidewalk dining. And this can't be done until we do have a license agreement approved with the City Commission. That's the only time that people can be served alcoholic beverages on the sidewalk, is when they're within a contained sidewalk dining area. So this element would not be for your review today, but the remaining section shows the 5x5 awning, 5 foot tall by 5 foot deep, the basic support system, overhead door, and also the wooden floor treatments within the building itself. And these are also carried through in the architectural drawings. So the applicant is seeking to update the appearance of his business in anticipation of the downtown streetscape improvement project, which is largely done on the 200 block of North Santa Fe, and the submission of a sidewalk dining license application for review by the Design Review Board and City Commission is planned by the applicant through an application that has not yet been submitted. So you're limited today just to the physical improvements on the storefront, and the applicant is choosing to establish a sidewalk dining area at some point in the future. So staff would note that no furniture can be placed on the outdoor area, or consumption of alcohol can occur on that front sidewalk unless and until the cafe license agreement is approved. And the applicant cannot use the overhead door and countertop as a means of serving patrons on the sidewalk. And we call this into attention because with a countertop here, there might be a temptation to either serve or have someone either eating or dining on that area out there where that is not approved by the City Commission. And food service must be available on a sidewalk dining area as well as drinks. And the sidewalk dining area can only be established with the City Commission's approval. The applicant has the option of presenting the requested material for the countertop and wall sign at our meeting today. If these are not presented to the satisfaction of the board, the countertop cannot be included in the scope of work for any building permit issued, and no sign permit for the wall sign can be issued as well. I have talked with the applicant today, and we are relying on the color samples provided by the contractor in this case. We don't have the colors for the countertop or for the other items there as well. But you do have the color of the paint system, the canopy color, as well as some of the other samples you have. So you would have alternatives today to approve the proposed materials and colors for the storefront facade if you think the finished materials presented by the applicant are sufficient for that. I do have the option of approving this proposed scope of work less the countertop and wall sign, subject to a condition that no countertop work can commence and no sign permit can be issued unless material and color samples for those two items are reviewed and approved by this board. So if the requested information on the color selection, you would have the conditions that no portion of the proposed bar countertop can extend onto or over the public right-of-way in Santa Fe. And if the requested information on the color schemes for the countertop and wall sign are not provided at the meeting, staff would recommend option 2 in this case. So that would mean the countertop itself wouldn't be constructed on any area that extends over the sidewalk there. So, and that leads to some logistics problems, I think, on construction, and we can go over those with the applicant. A pseudo counter could be placed there that replicates the form to allow the interior renovation to finish out with the countertop being shifted to the sidewalk dining license application review that the design review board will look at later. So in this case, with the material samples we have, staff would recommend option number 2, and with the condition that the countertop work cannot commence and no sign permit can be issued at this time. But a considerable rest of the project is available to move forward with these samples, and we do have the portions of the project would be affected by here. These are the wall sample, wall section, and floor plan. As well as portions of the demolition for the property. Interior demolitions are planned out as well as provided by the project architect, and these could proceed at this time with the design review board approval if you believe the samples are sufficient to carry through with approval at this time, realizing that the countertop project can't commence and that the wall sign can't be erected without a sign permit in your review. So at this point, staff would be glad to take any questions you have. The applicant is also here today.
Okay, thank you, John. Do we have any questions for John at this time? Okay, Kevin, do you have anything that you want to add?
I actually do have a picture on my phone of what I want the countertop to look like.
Okay, if you want to go to the stand, sorry.
I actually have a picture on the phone of what the countertop I want it to look like, but it's actually a tile instead of an epoxy, so whatever James could find to, you know, mimic that, that's what I was looking for, but I didn't know if he, you know, evidently didn't find what I was looking for just as of yet, so, or found the pictures to, you know, how it's going to look, so.
Okay. Did you guys want to see that? I mean, that's not something that we can vote on now, right? Because we're still waiting on the city commissioners, correct? For the countertop?
On the countertop, for it to be mounted in one piece and save the expense of having 2 versions of the countertop done, we would have to probably place that into review for the sidewalk dining application.
Okay. So right now, that wouldn't be something that we,
What we would ask is if it would be possible to put a temporary top there as long as it did not extend out into the sidewalk area, and that would allow some of that work to continue.
Okay, yeah. I can definitely get that done, and I probably will have all the, before this actually even gets started. I'm just waiting for some paperwork from the city on my kitchen to get my certificate of compatibility to move forward on the front. Seems that I was you know, registered as just a bar, not a bar and grill, so that's what I'm kind of
okay.
waiting for, so.
Yeah, in this case, the applicant does have a food service at the establishment there, and city staff and some state staff are working with him to ensure that the kitchen is up to code, and then also considered a food establishment service, which is a certain percentage of the proceeds for each year have to be from food sales to also allow that to be considered a food establishment area, and that would be required before the sidewalk dining could go forward.
Okay.
My question I had was, what we're looking at today doesn't include the full countertop for the sidewalk dining, but was there a plan to put a temporary countertop in then, so that you could move forward with construction, and then when we come back and revisit the sidewalk dining?
Yeah, they would probably put a temporary in there. I'm hoping,
Would it be the same material that you want the the end product to be?
You know, probably at that point, he'd probably just put I'm guessing, he'd probably put a concrete form in there, and then when everything gets done, then he would drop on,
The door would come down against the concrete
Yeah,
form, and
yeah.
then when we come back and revisit the sidewalk dining, then the countertop that you want could go in.
Yep,
if it was
correct.
approved.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? We have any questions or comments here? Okay, all right, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, John. I don't see anybody from the public here, so
No.
I would entertain a motion at this time.
I move that we approve the proposed scope of work as listed under option 2, less the countertop and the wall sign, subject to a condition that no countertop work, or at least the countertop will not extend over into the sidewalk area until we've got all that sidewalk dining thing figured out with the city commission.
I'll
Aye.
second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those that approve, say aye.
Aye.
All those that do not, same sign. Okay, it has passed. Thank you, Kevin. John, from my understanding, we do not have anything for number 3.2, is that correct?
That is correct. The agent working for the property owners and developer did let us know during last week that he would not be available for today's meeting and asked to postpone the meeting to your next regular DRB meeting, which in that case would be on June 13th. You are able to meet on the fifth Thursday of the month, but he thought going to the May, to the June 13th would work best, because it would not, the May 30th would be awfully close to being done, and you'd be receiving a packet when you left today otherwise.
Okay,
So the May 13th is the date we're looking at.
all right. Is there any other business or anything that we need?
Staff hasn't brought any additional information for you today besides the current application with Brower Grill. We don't have any pending applications at this time, so.
All right, well, thank you, John. I would entertain a motion to help
I
to
move we
leave.
adjourn.
Adjourn, there we go. I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all approve, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are out.